Hello friends, I'm Heather. Welcome back to Belle's Library. Today we're going to do a new bookish tag video. It's called the End of the Year TBR book tag. And basically we're going to talk about some books that we kind of want to finish by the end of 2021 here. And I'm just going to say, like, there's, I don't know, like 10 questions or something. I'm not going to hold myself firm to actually finishing these because, you know, Belle's book plan can be a little unpredictable and you never know where things are going to go. But these are some books that I'm definitely interested in picking up by the end of December. We'll see if it happens. And let's just talk some books. Before we jump into all of that though, click subscribe if you're new here, and also my Goodreads and Instagram are linked down below for you guys so we can talk bookish on all the different platforms. Before we get into the questions though, I did want to mention that Margaret from The Word Nerd is the original creator of this tag. I will definitely have that down below for you guys. And I was tagged by Brave Bear, so thank you very much to her for tagging me. I've been kind of chit-chatting and getting to know some of the ladies over in the BookTube Beta Discord, and she is one of them and a new channel that I found. So excited to be tagged in this one by her, and I will put her video down below as well so you guys can check out what some other creators are thinking. Okay, now question number one is going to be, what is a new release that you need to read by the end of the year? So I put a few things down here that I'm kind of interested in getting to by the end of the year. So one of them is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. This one is kind of going to be in the similar vein of House in the Cerulean Sea, which I adored by him last year, but all I know is that we have like a ghost story kind of plot line going on. So it looks like basically we have Wallace, and he's at his funeral, and the Reaper comes to kind of bring him along, and he brings him out into this like super out there small village to this tea shop where the owner Hugo basically, he also helps to ferry souls to the afterlife, but Wallace is like, I'm not ready, and so Hugo kind of shows him some of the things that he missed out on in his life, and then the manager steps in and says, you have 7 days until you need to cross over, and so Wallace is trying to live his best life in 7 days, and that's kind of the general premise that I'm understanding of this one, but totally excited, and I think it's going to be great. Another book that I'm interested in getting into that's coming out here in a couple months is A Snake Falls to Earth. This is by Darcy Littlebadger. She also wrote Alatsue. That was her debut that came out last year, and I really enjoyed that one. And I would like to see what more she has. She writes in this kind of storytelling structure that is from her Lipan Apache heritage that, I don't know, it just comes through really well in her stories, and I really enjoy it. So in this one, we're following Nina, and she is Lipan, and she is in our world. And then we also have Ollie, and he's a cottonmouth kid, and he's from the land of spirits and monsters. And the two of them end up colliding when Nina's best friend becomes really, really ill, and so their worlds are kind of colliding together in ways that hasn't happened in centuries, and there's also, I guess, people out to possibly kill them because I'm assuming they don't want this to happen. So yeah, something to that effect. I'm curious, I'm interested, and I want to read it. And then last but not least on this one is For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. This one's coming out in September, and I'm really excited for this one because I really enjoyed He Started It by Samantha Downing last year. And this one we're following like a boarding school or something, I believe, and one of the professors, I think he thinks that all the kids are like stuck up and like, I don't know, something like that. It's following like a professor in a school, and he just thinks that the kids are all spoiled brats, and it's a thriller, so it's going to go some direction with that. And she always, like, at least with He Started It, and I'm thinking with The Silent Wife, she kind of weaves in some tricky turns and twists, and has some really, like, just characters usually that are flawed. Like, all of her characters are very flawed, and you're just like, what is wrong with these people? So we'll see. I'm excited for it. that's a couple of the ones that I want to get to. Next question is, what is a book that you want to reread? I don't know if I'm going to do any rereading, but I've been really wanting to get to The Hating Game. That's what came to mind first when I read this question. I really enjoyed this one. It's just like a really fun office romance between these two. They are the assistants to the two different like CEOs of this book publishing company, but they like hate each other, don't get along, and then they find out that maybe they have a little more chemistry than they thought. And it's just lovely, and I could definitely dive back into this and reread it and probably like find things that I've completely forgotten about in this book. And then I also would really love to go back and reread Slay by Brittany Morris. I love and adore this book. I talk about it all the time. We're following Kira, and she creates this online community or role-playing game that's basically for the Black community, and some players like get in an altercation and this kid ends up getting murdered over it, and then everybody finds out about this game, so she's a racist, but she's never told anybody in her family that she created this game or anybody in her friends or anything. It's kind of like her escape away from everybody and everything, and the game is super cool, and it's really well written, amazing story. But I would love to go back in here and read this, and I know there were so many quotes in here that I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to like annotate and highlight and draw all over this. Like, that's kind of how I felt as I was reading it, but I was reading it through a library copy. I bought this like after I finished, like, and within a couple days I was like, I have to have it. So yeah, this would be a really good one to reread. The next question is, what is a series you would like to continue? I have a bunch of series that I would like to continue, including, let's see, I've got a couple here. So I want to continue in the Small Spaces series by Catherine Arden. So I've read these first two, and the third one's coming out this month or next month, really soon here, and it's called, I think, Dark Waters. So each of them is kind of like themed around a season. So we have fall and winter, and then this next one is going to be spring, and it's going to be set at like a camp and a lake, and there's going to be probably some kind of lake monster, but basically they're like middle grade horror novels, and they're really fun, and I really like them. Also would love to continue the Sleeping Giants series by Sylvan Newell. This one's told in like all these different interviews, and basically this girl, Rose, she falls into this hole in like a huge mechanical hand, and it gets taken over by the military, and when she gets older, she gets her PhD, and she ends up working on this project, and they're trying to find all the other pieces to make this huge giant, basically, and they're trying to figure out how all these pieces came to be, how they work, all the technology to go with it, and there's a lot of other political intrigue and stuff, and I would love to continue this series because it's really fun and the audio is awesome. I have so many series that I've started that I would love to get to. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I'd love to continue that one. It's a really good YA mystery. I'm not sure what the second book's about, but I'm fun. I'm fun. I'm good with just, you know, jumping into it and seeing, especially with like a mystery. You don't want to know too much anyways. Oh, the City of Brass trilogy, the David trilogy. Oh my gosh. I loved Kingdom of Copper so much. I really enjoyed City of Brass, but Kingdom of Copper, like, was even better, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get to Empire of Gold, which is the last book, and it's gonna be so good, so good. The next question is, what's a book you'd like to buddy read? I actually have a couple buddy reads set up. Currently, I am buddy reading The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager, Alita and the Books, and I started buddy reading Lock Every Door, and we really enjoyed doing that, and so we're moving into another Riley Sager book, so I don't know if we might continue even reading more of his, but they're just really quick, easy reads, and they've been really great to buddy read, so definitely very much enjoying that, and this has been great, so I'd like to finish that. And then I also have a buddy read planned for Skyward next month by Brandon Sanderson, and this one is like a sci-fi about this girl, and that's all I got. There's literally like no synopsis on this. It just says Defiance is Survival, but this is like a Brandon Sanderson that a lot of people seem to like, and I haven't read a book by him, and I am intrigued because it's about space, and I think I can get into that, so yeah. So the next question says, what is an age category or genre that's different from what you usually read? So I actually went back and rewatched Margaret's video from the original tag because I was like, does she just want me to talk about a genre that I don't usually read? Or is she wanting me to talk about books that I might read within a genre that I don't usually read? So she meant books, so I just, I was a little confused. I had to clarify that. But I've got a couple, again, not sure if I'm going to get to these or not. But one is I don't read a lot of nonfiction. But as far as that one goes, I would love to get to Lauren Graham's memoir she has, Talking as Fast as I Can. From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and everything in between. I just think she's so fun in Gilmore Girls, and Gilmore Girls to me is like super fall season feels. So going into the fall and stuff, I'm like, I kind of want to watch some Gilmore Girls, but this would be a fun like nonfiction. I'd be like, cool, let's check it out. Also, historical fiction. Historical fiction's a little fickle with me. I don't tend to like a lot of historical fiction, but then sometimes a historical fiction is just like, it can hit me and it's amazing. And I'm just like, this is my favorite book ever. So I do have The Lost Apothecary, which to me feels very like witchy feeling and fall feeling. And I just feel like it would fit right in with the vibes that are coming my way because fall cannot get here fast enough. But it is a historical fiction type story, so it's kind of out of my comfort zone. This is by Sarah Penner, and we're basically like back in London years ago, 200 years before, there was like a apothecary basically that would give these women poisons to like, I think poison their husbands or something. People that they secretly wanted to poison. And nobody ever figured out who was doing this or whatnot, and then there's like a new clue now in modern days or something. I don't know if it's actually modern days, but 200 years after, they find a vial in London's long solved. We have Carrot. So the 200 years like more present is she discovers a link between a vial that she finds and London's long unsolved apothecary murders. So it's kind of got like a little like mystery happening. I don't know, so I'm curious, and I think this would be a good one. Number 6, what is a book from a previous TBR? This one, I'm gonna go ahead and say one last stop. This was supposed to be my July book for the Buzzwordathon. It was supposed to be the word last in the title, and I didn't get to it, so I really am hoping I can get to this in August, because I'm very curious about the story. I want to give Casey Musquiston another try. Red, White, and Blue, Royal Blue was okay for me, but this sounds much more up my alley with the time travel stuff, and curious. I'm very curious. So this is a female-female romance where basically there's this girl who's like stuck on this train, but she's from the past, and this other girl like meets her from modern day New York, and they're trying to figure out how to like get her out of this time loop or something, but they also have like a little romance happening, and I don't know, I think there's a couple other things kind of happening in the story because it is a little bit longer, but I'm curious. Now, what is a book that I recently purchased or acquired? So for this one, I'm really in the like fall vibe, spooky season, like I'm ready for it. So some of these books are definitely kind of aiming that way, but I did get The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James, and like spooky haunted motel, yes, loving those vibes right now. So this one I definitely would love to get to by the end of the year. But basically we have like a timeline in, 1982, where this woman, Viv, she goes to this motel, she gets a job there, and then she's like, something is weird here, this is haunted, and she ends up disappearing, and then we flash forward to 2017, and we have Carly, and she's always kind of wondered what happened to her Aunt Viv and how she like disappeared, and she decides to go and visit this old motel and figure out, like, she just wants to see the place, but it definitely has not changed much, and she's just kind of sucked into this haunting whatever is going on. Next we have what is a book that's on my physical TBR. So Practical Magic, definitely by the end of the year. I really want to read this in October. I have never read the book. Obviously I've seen the movie, and I just would love to actually read the book and see where that movie came from, because I really enjoyed the movie, and this is perfect like Halloween vibes for sure. Also, it really matches this background like perfectly. It's got like this blue or it's got this pink and purple happening and then the blue on top with the sky, and I don't know, it's just like, it's matching well. All right, so what is a hyped book that I want to read? Actor Eve Brown. I keep trying to read this book, and I don't know what's getting in my way here, but in July I just didn't have a chance to get to it, so then I put it on my August TBR, and then I went to read it the other day, and it was like not in my Libby app, and I was like, what the heck? Like, did the hold expire? And like, I didn't realize, and then it wasn't even on my hold shelf, and I was just like, and now it's like 4 weeks out, and I'm like, really? But I really want to get to this one, and the Brown Sisters trilogy is definitely very hyped. We're following, each of the books follows one of the sisters, and basically their love story, and this one's Eve Brown, and she's kind of the chaotic youngest sister who's just got this just chaotic life, and she needs to grow up, and so she decides to interview at this, like, what's it called, B&B, and the owner's like, no, because he's very like type A, very organized, he wants to be like top of the B&B world, and then when she's leaving, she accidentally hits him with his car, and so then to make up for it, she's like, oh, I'm gonna do everything I can, help you at the hotel, and this and that, and then he kind of just gets bowled over by her chaoticness, and says that he doesn't like it, but, you know, kind of does like. So next is going to be, what is a book that you DNFed that you're going to come back around to? I actually have a couple of books that I kind of did a soft DNF of, and one of them is Creatures of Passage. I'm about halfway through this book, and I do want to get back to it. I was watching the live show. I actually picked this up. I was interested in it, and then the Stacks of Strange book club did it for their book in July, and so that's when I was like, oh yeah, let's read it. And it went into this kind of dark place that I was just like, I am not wanting to get back to this right now. I'm having a hard time, but I feel like it's getting away from that area a little bit, but I just still haven't been able to like bring myself, like I wasn't expecting such a dark story in it. So I would like to finish it because a lot of them on the live show said they really, really enjoyed it. So hopefully I'll get back to it soon. I think I only have this book till the end of August anyways from my library. So basically we're following this girl, like they pitched it as this woman, she is kind of a drunk since her twin brother was killed in the river. And then one day her nephew like shows up on her doorstep, and she's kind of estranged from him, but he's been talking to a riverman. And then also she like ferries a taxi around with like a ghost in the trunk. So, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of dark themes and trigger warnings like crazy in this one. So if you're interested, definitely look that up. And then I also did a soft DNF on My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. I don't know if I just really wasn't in the mood for this or if it really isn't hitting me, but I was having a hard time a little bit with the writing style. Not that it was bad writing, it just like it wasn't clicking in my brain. And also the talk of just slasher films was getting a little overboard and repetitive, and I was like, I want to talk about something else as well in the story. And so I was having a hard time, but I didn't get very far into that one, so I do want to try and get back to it. So that's it for the questions. The last thing is just, who do I tag? So I would love to see Alita in the books if you haven't done this one. I tag you. Also, Rye over at Rye's Reading Corner, and Kelsey at Bookishly Nerdy, and how about Courtney at the Book Nook Corner. So you guys are tagged if you are interested in doing this tag. I would love to see what you guys got for the rest of the year's reading. And if you guys have stuck around this far, I would absolutely adore if you guys wanted to put like a moon or a star or some kind of emoji like that down below, or tell me some of the books that you are also wanting to read by the end of the year. I will talk to you guys super soon, and I hope you guys have